So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can set up your Sony ZV-E10 to live stream while also recording on the camera itself. So right now, this video, I'm recording on the Sony ZV-E10 internally, while I'm also recording into the computer via HDMI. And I am also broadcasting via Zoom all at the same time. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, the thing you need to pay attention to is how to live stream, because the problem that we run into a lot of times is that, let's say we're doing a live stream, and that live stream, whether it's on a platform like Zoom or StreamYard or even YouTube, if we try to repurpose that live stream recording from the platform on which it was broadcast to, the quality tends to be highly compressed, or rather it's going to be low quality. So especially on Zoom, right? On Zoom, you get something like 480p or maybe even 720p if you recorded internally from Zoom itself, assuming that you started the Zoom call. But even then, like 720p is just the bottom of the barrel with regards to resolution, and it's highly compressed. So a lot of times you might do a broadcast, but then you want to repurpose that production for other platforms at the highest quality. You want to be able to chop it up. So this is the solution to be able to address that, where you record the highest quality version, i.e. 4K, on your Sony ZV-E10, and you also broadcast. You don't necessarily have to worry about the broadcast, especially if you're not the one starting the broadcast, because then you don't have control over whether or not you can record it. If you're like the host, or you brought in, if you're not the host, if you brought in, then if you record locally, then you have a copy of at least your side of the footage in terms of audio quality. So the couple of things that you're going to need beforehand to be able to accomplish this: a Camlink Elgato, or from Elgato, Camlink 4K. This is just simply a device that allows you to take an HDMI signal and convert it into a USB data stream that then the computer recognizes for you to be able to add. And let me show you what that looks like once everything is connected. It's usually plug and play, typically speaking, but I'll walk you through some settings that you need to kind of ensure. But the first thing that you want to do is when you connect it via a mini HDMI. So a mini HDMI cable essentially is something that that looks like this. That's the USB-C cable, and then the one on the bottom, that's the mini HDMI cable input. This is not the Sony ZV-E10, but it's the same connection that goes into the Sony ZV-E10. So you need a mini HDMI to a full-size HDMI cable. That's the second item that you need, because the mini side is, or rather the micro, rather, it's not mini HDMI, it's micro HDMI. The micro HDMI side connects into your Sony, and then the regular size HDMI side connects into the Camlink, which is right here. For example, this is the camera that I am recording with right now. And you will notice right there, the gray cable is my micro HDMI, while the black cable is my USB-C power. The red cable is something that's connecting from my microphone. So essentially my microphone is being fed directly into the camera. So audio and video is then being collected from the camera onto the computer. And so what I'm doing now is that gray cable that you'll notice right here is plugged into my Camlink Elgato 4K, or Elgato is the brand, Camlink 4K is the thing, and you'll see the light is on when it's connected. That means it's receiving a signal. And so, and I've done the same thing with a second camera right here, which I'm going to demonstrate for you. Don't mind the mess. Got a lot of cables back here. And it's the same thing. You got a second Camlink to be able to capture another signal. But you can essentially, this is essentially what you need to ensure, that you plug micro HDMI via, and make sure your audio and stuff is all being fed into the camera, and then that signal is going to go straight into the computer. Just make sure that the light on the Camlink turns on at some point, and then that's how you know you're receiving a signal. Obviously, if you have a microphone, it doesn't have to be a shotgun microphone like I have up here, But you could do it even with a lapel mic. You just make sure that your cable for the lapel is long enough, or you're using something like a wireless microphone, like a Rode Wireless Go, and that is being fed, at least the receiver is plugged into the camera, and that the signal is there. Because a lot of times, normally, if you're going to go the easy route, you can connect to the camera via USB-C, and then that allows you to still get a signal, but USB-C is going to be limited to 720p. Just a reminder, that's why we're using the cam link and the HDMI cable to get the maximum output. Also, it allows us to continue to record inside the camera. So that's number one. Number two is the settings you need to dial in camera. And in fact, I want you to do this step. I want you to do step number two before you do step number one. So this is the just the camera itself. Let me bring in little Yoshi over here. So what I want you to do is go into menu, right? And then from menu, you're going to go to the briefcase. And from the briefcase, it'll be page 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. 4K output select, memory card plus HDMI. Make sure that is selected. Not HDMI only, memory card plus HDMI. Because what's going to happen is that if you don't select this option, you can press record and it'll show you the tally light. It'll show you the red box around you, but then your record time is going to remain at 0 because it's not actually recording internally. All that's doing is there are some HDMI recorders that sit on top of the camera that get triggered by the camera's record button. So in essence, it would be recording on the HDMI recorder, not on the camera itself. That's the only reason why there's this deceptive outlook. That's why you got to make sure that you select memory card plus HDMI. Now, for any reason, if you're not able to select this and it's grayed out, the reason it's grayed out is because you need to connect an HDMI cable first and then it'll activate. So that's something. So if you're watching this as the first step because I told you to skip, then understand you have to just connect the HDMI first, and then you'll be able to select that option. So that's the first thing that I want you to do. The other thing is just some profile settings that I want you to kind of dial in. Let's go to the second movie menu. Now, right now, the file format is set to XAVC HD. I want you to go ahead and make it 4K. And the reason is because that's going to give you the best quality. I had to bring it down to HD because if I want to showcase to you the menu, then the menu is actually in HD, and that's why I had to change that. Also, make sure your record setting is set to 24 or 25p, depending on the setting that your camera's in. In the US, it should be in the NTSC American settings. But if it's not, then just make sure, then just choose 25p. It should be 25p 100M as opposed to 50M here. So just make sure that that is selected. So file format first, XAVC S 4K. So just remember that 4K, not HD. The camera, in terms of the image quality and everything, records best in 4K. Even if you're going to deliver in HD on other platforms, it's better to take a 4K image and squeeze it down to HD than to take an HD image and work with that within the platforms, because you're going to be losing image quality. So just a heads up with that regard. Also, make sure that you have an SD card. You format the SD card before you press record. Best practice, insert the SD card, format it, and even if it initializes and everything like that, when you insert it, I still want you to go ahead and format it. In case you don't know where the format is, I believe the format option is in the briefcase setting on the 4th page. So briefcase setting, 4th page, you just go ahead and select format. All right, all data will be deleted and press enter. So that's essentially it. That's with regards to that. Now, when you do this, you've dialed in all your settings. Oh, one more thing. I forgot. So normally there's a button on the back of the camera. There is a FN button, which stands for function. When you press that, you're going to get something that looks like this. So you press function, you get something like this, right? There should be one item here that says picture profile. I want you to go ahead and select that and go over to PP off, right? What that means is that the picture profile itself is turned off. This is going to be the simplest setting that gives you the an image that doesn't require a lot of work. What do I mean by that? So other different picture profiles. So I'll show you what that means, right? So if I go to function and I type in PP off, and then I go to 10, you'll see that the image changes. PP9, the image changes again. PP8, the image changes. These are all different picture profiles. These other picture profiles are designed and intended for somebody who's going to be doing editing and grading later. But if you're looking for the image profile that's best for broadcasting, PP off is going to be the punchiest and sharpest image that you're going to get. Let me just bring your sheet into focus. There we go. Now he's sort of in focus. Come on, man. Get back in focus. There you go. So make sure that PP is off, picture profile off. Now, if for any reason the picture profile option is not available within the function menu, then you're going to have to go into the menu itself and find it there. So if you press on menu, you go to the first menu, like here I got 1 and 2, go to number 1 and go to page 8, 6, 7, 8. And then here you will see picture profile and it's set to off. And then that'll bring you to this where you can scroll up and down to ensure that picture profile is off. And then you can press menu to exit out of there. The other thing, I'm assuming you know what your exposure settings are going to be, so that because you've done broadcasting before, so that's not going to be the scope of this video. I just want you to be able to get ready to be able to broadcast onto something like Zoom and record internally on the camera at the same time. All right, so now the last step here, as you can notice, we're actually now in Zoom. And I'm doing this also at the same time as I'm recording internally on the camera. I'm recording internally in the computer, and now I'm also broadcasting on Zoom. So once you're in Zoom, the thing that you want to ensure is first your audio source you want to select as the camera itself, which is the cam link. Now I got a couple of cam links over here. So in my case, I just need to know which one is which. But in your case, since you're connected only a single cam link with the camera, the microphone is being fed into, just pick that one. That's it. And then from here, also from video, you want to ensure that you're selecting the cam link. Now, in my case, I'm using a completely different setup, which is a little bit more advanced. And if you're curious, my setup is essentially I have 2 different cam link devices. Both of them are being fed via HDMI into my computer through the cam link. And then that feed is being fed into OBS Studio, which looks like this, right? And then I've started a virtual camera within OBS Studio, and this allows me to kind of switch between the different angles and different window captures and things like that. So I can kind of do a multicam virtual setup in this setup here. But you don't have to worry about that. The only reason I'm clarifying this is because when I pull up my menus, you'll see I have different things selected, and there's a reason for that. But for you, again, when you select your microphone, make sure that you have your microphone selected, not NVIDIA Broadcast, which is what I have, but choose your cam link. And at the same time, if you've got your cam link set up here, make sure you select that for your video feed, and that should be able to allow you to not transfer, but broadcast using the camera and record at the same time. If you do have any questions, let me know in the comments or just reach out to me, and that's really it.